Cameron Redden, how would you describe the mood of the opposition leader today as he is about to cast his ballot there?
Yeah, just about to walk into the room here in his seat of Dickson, Ashley. Remember, this is Queensland's most marginal seat. We were in a cafe this morning in Melbourne, the seat of McNamara. He was asked how he was feeling on this election day. His response: never give in. So there's always hope. The opposition leader looking confident. He would feel, I'm sure, that these past few days have been among his best in this campaign. He's got a bit of a pep in his step. He's been out and about speaking to voters a little bit more. We did a big street walk through Lyons, the seat in Tasmania, on Thursday. We were out and about in WA all day on Friday, in Melbourne this morning, and then here to his seat of Dickson, the most marginal seat in Queensland. Remember, 1.7% is the margin here. There's a Teal challenger in Ellie Smith. Ailey France is Labor's candidate. It's her third attempt to unseat the opposition leader. We are waiting really to see what happens with his primary vote in this seat. Of course, he wants to become the Prime Minister. To do that, you must first hold your own seat. 1.7% the margin. We are waiting for Peter Dutton to walk in the room here. A small crowd of volunteers out the front. We are in the middle of the afternoon. A lot of people will have already voted today, already before the day began. Half of Australia had cast an early ballot. Here comes the opposition leader now, about to walk into this room here and cast his vote. Will it be the final time he votes as a sitting member, as the opposition leader? Will he, by the time the 24 hours is up and we're here tomorrow, the Prime Minister of Australia, the 32nd in our nation's history? Probably no surprises, Ashley, who he plans to be voting for. I wonder how he will number his own preferences. I did not get a chance to see the how to vote cards on the walk-in, but Peter Dutton voting here in his seat at one of the local public schools here, as he does every year, I'm told, and has done for 24 years, entering Parliament in 2001. And this is really the biggest day of his career, the biggest moment of his political life. 24 years in Parliament, one of the most experienced members of the coalition team. He's been a Defence Minister, he's been a Home Affairs Minister, he's been the opposition leader for 3 years, trying to rebuild and unite his party after that crushing defeat in 2022. Now he's looking to lead them back onto the government benches. Remember, it's been almost a century since an opposition unseated a first-term government. That was back in the wake of the Great Depression. A Labor government too, the Scullin government, swept out of office when cost of living was difficult, inflation was through the roof, and that is, you know, obviously a different exact economic scenario to what we face today. But Peter Dutton, in this final push, this final 52-seat blitz around the country, 5 weeks at the end of a 3-year term in opposition, is asking voters not to just look at what they've seen as he's made his way across the country over these weeks, but on what they've experienced over 3 years of this Albanese government. The stumbles, the missteps in this campaign have been well documented. There is an acknowledgement from some on the Liberal side that this campaign has not always gone 100% to plan, but Peter Dutton today is projecting confidence. He believes that over the past 3 years, he has done enough to get this coalition over the line and back into government. Remember what the polls say. They start behind today. It's roughly, in News Poll, 52.5 to 47.5. So one of the big questions when voting begins voting ends at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight is, can this coalition team tip the government into minority? And how deep into minority, if so? We've heard from the Prime Minister for weeks now. He remains confident that a majority government is not out of reach. On the polls, you would suggest that it is line ball. That's why the preferences are so important, not just in this seat of Dickson, but right across the country. Much of the commentariat, Ashley, has noted, and many of the pollsters have noted too, that much of what will happen tonight will come down to those preference flows. Roughly a third of Australians will vote for either major party, a third will vote for some third party or independents, One Nation, the Greens. And that's why it's such a seat-by-seat battle, and that's what makes this electorate, his own seat of Dickson, one of the most interesting in the country, to see what happens by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight. Do we know whether or not the opposition leader will hold his own seat? For the history buffs, it's worth noting, no Australian federal opposition leader has ever lost their own seat at an election. We've had 17 petrol stations, Ashley, over the course of the last little while. I don't know if we're going to get to an 18th, but Peter Dutton says, as I asked him during the week here, He says he's thrown everything at this, that this is his best shot, that he's given it his all, and he believes, is holding on to hope, that he can lead the coalition back to government. It all begins, really, with him casting his vote here today.
The opposition leader Peter Dutton casting his vote there in the seat of Dickson. Our camera angle here affording the opposition leader a little bit of privacy. You can just see the top of his head over the ballot box there. Cam, we have seen the opposition leader urging voters to judge the coalition not on this campaign period but on the last 3 years. There you have it. Mr Dutton has put his ballot paper there. He's just querying something, grabbing a pen there from one of the electorate helpers there on the ballot booth. Cam, when you speak with Liberal strategists, senior Liberals, they acknowledge that at the start of this campaign there was a sense of buoyancy. The mood was strong for the Liberal Party. That mood has changed a bit. It has shifted over the campaign. The Liberal Party hasn't had the momentum that we like to talk about. It's all been with the Prime Minister. We've seen poll after poll suggesting that Anthony Albanese is heading for a second term tonight. When Peter Dutton looks back at this campaign period, what do you think he'll see as the highlights, the policies that have had cut through for his party and the ones that perhaps they should have had a rethink on?
We think of so many of the curveballs that were thrown, not just at the opposition leader, but at the government too, at Labor, the Prime Minister, throughout this campaign. Ashley, the impact of Donald Trump has really been felt. Even in the first week, I was travelling with Peter Dutton at the time of Liberation Day in the United States, when all of those tariffs came in. Australia learned that we were not going to get any special treatment and carve-out. And I remember talking to voters. We were in the seat of Perth at the time. And this was one of those moments that kind of stood out to me throughout this course of the campaign. We asked probably the best part of 20 people on that day who they believed would be best placed to deal with Donald Trump in the White House. Roughly half of them said Anthony Albanese, roughly half of them said neither. Not a single person we asked said Peter Dutton. That's the big question, I think, of is that one of the turning points? The opposition leader, as we turn to our left here, casting his vote. Let's just have a quick listen in here.
Come on, guys. Straight ahead there, Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, guys.
Come here, guys.
Yep, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
What time's the flight tomorrow, Meg?
9 in the morning.
Straight ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Dutton.
Thank you.
Any final words, Mr. Dutton?
Not in Thank you. Thank you very much.
So in goes the envelope, and there goes the opposition leader. We might do a little walk and talk here, Ashley. He's on his way out now of this polling booth. Peter Dutton casting his vote in this election, and with that, really, his campaign comes to an end. 5 weeks, 52 electorates, 17 petrol stations, one objective, to become Australia's 32nd Prime Minister. Peter Dutton now making his way out of this polling booth here, his seat of Dickson, remember, the most marginal seat in Queensland. To become the PM, he needs to win this seat first. And really now, Ash, it's over to the Australian people to decide whether or not he'll be successful.
Cameron Redden live there in Dickson. Yes, we've seen Peter Dutton just casting his vote. Now he begins what is no doubt going to be a nervous wait over the coming hours. We'll no doubt see Mr Dutton hold up with his key advisors and strategists throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening. Let's listen in as he's having a chat with some voters there in Dickson.
Peter Dutton is our sounding board now since he's here.
Do you know that my stop it? Peter Dutton needs to win 21 seats before majority government.
In this race.
From Richards Road. I live off of Richards Road.
Well, we used to, so my grandmother lived up on the border of Richards Road.
Yeah.
And they, with the photos time, they used to do whole dances here.
At this hall?
Well, at this site.
Before,
So
yeah.
that's just new build, obviously, but
So close
pretty amazing.
line and yet
So my mum came to my
Well, you should come to the Winter Carnival.
I should.
You really should. It's 150 years. Yes, my world famous.
Well, thank you for what you do. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. See you soon. Look, I've been speaking to our marginal seat members around the country, and there's been really very positive response, and there's been a very encouraging response at both the pre-poll and today at the election booth. So I'm confident that Australians have seen through a bad government, and I'm confident that Australians can't afford 3 more years of what they've experienced. And there are a lot of families who are really doing it very tough at the moment, and Australians can't afford 3 more years of Labor. And our positive plan is about making sure that we can manage our economy and get inflation down and get the 25 cent a litre cut of fuel and $1,200 tax rebate back to people to help them now. They need help right now, not in 15 months with 70 cents a day in tax cuts. And then we can provide housing opportunities for young Australians again and keep our country and our suburbs safe. So I think people are voting, and I think there are a lot of quiet Australians out there today, and I think a lot of quiet Australians have come out today to support the coalition, and looking forward to the outcome tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you.